Hi, Scott Orlin with CINEMA-Magazin. Well, we're bringing you another in our continuing series of cinema outside the box, where we're kind of taking you behind the scenes during this pandemic to introduce you and talk to some people who are essential in making movies, but we don't really get a chance to see every day. First one we're going to talk to today is Shannon Bakeman. Now, Shannon is a hairstylist, a wig specialist, everything to do with hair. So kind of introduce us to that aspect of the film. How does that work on set?
Well, usually with hairstylists, we have meetings with the directors, with the writers, producers. We also have to talk to the actors to get a perspective of what their vision is of the character they're playing. So normally when we get a script, we have to break it down so that we understand what we think they look like and the different things they're going to go through throughout the script. So once we have those meetings and conversations, then goes on to the process of, will this character wear a wig? Will they wear a ball cap? Will they wear their own hair? And if we decide that they're wearing wigs, then that conversation goes over to the wig maker, and then we're getting sizes, to make sure that the wigs fit natural and they look natural. So it's a whole process, and it gets pretty hard because a lot of times you have a lot of input on one character and you have to make that hairstyle fit for one person that's comfortable wearing it.
Let's talk about, I think you actually have some prototypes or some wigs there. Talk a little bit about the process. How long does it take to make a wig? And do you have stunt wigs? I mean, if it's, I know you've worked with, let's say, Octavia Spencer. Is there just one wig, or do you have 6 wigs that are the same style?
I would say, like, for the last movie that we did, I had 3 wigs just for her, and then there were 2 stunt double wigs, which I actually have one of them. This is the wig she wore. It's not styled all the way, but it was something like this. And then I had to also give them something that was close to that for them to style for her stunt double. So anytime we're doing a film and there's any type of fighting, or, someone can just fall or get pushed. It doesn't have to be extreme things for a stunt double, but we always have to have a second wig. And I would say the process for making these wigs, usually the wigs are made specifically for the actors. And those can take anywhere. If you're just getting a wig fronted because you have a wig, like I have this wig here. All I would do is just get the front of it to the shape of her head, so we're not spending thousands of dollars for a stunt double. And so those can take anywhere from a month to, a couple of months, depending on the degree of what we actually need.
Speaking of degrees, let's kind of talk about your own educational process, because we all think we know what to do with our hair, but you have a special skill set. Especially on a movie or a TV series, because you have a limited amount of time, you got to get it right. How did you kind of get yourself immersed with hair?
Well, actually, I come from a background of hairstylists. My grandmother was a hairstylist, so I've been in it since, I was born. And I just enjoyed watching it. And when I say that this process has been I've been very blessed with this process, because becoming a hairstylist, your dreams are, I want to own my own salon. I want to do this. I want to do that. Never in a million years did I think, when I was watching TV, oh, someone actually does that. Like, I just assumed they go get their hair done and they come and they make a movie, or they know how to do it themselves. I never knew there was a person behind the scenes that did it. So once I got that opportunity, I was like, oh, this takes my skills to a whole different level, because there's a difference in working in a salon and working on set. I can take 2 hours to do your hair in a salon. I get about 20 minutes to do that same 2-hour style on set.
As an audience member, sometimes I certainly can't tell if somebody has their natural hair or a wig. obviously that's exactly what you want. You don't want that.
Right.
But how good are you at ascertaining that? Could you look at a movie and immediately go, oh, that's a wig, that's their real hair?
I do it in real life walking down the street. So yes. And it work being behind the scenes as a crew member, I can say probably every crew member in every department looks at something. They're looking at lighting. Someone is probably like, oh my God, they left the marks on the ground. Like there's always something that someone sees. And yes, I definitely zero in on hair because that's what I do. And it's just a trained thing. It's not that I'm trying to find flaws. Most of the time I'm trying to figure out, oh my God, that's great. How did they do that? So.
And a last question for you. And again, this may be my own naivete. One thinks that probably it's the women that have to go through more extensive wig work. But do men have to do the same thing? Are there a lot of actors that we just don't know are actually wearing wigs?
Yes, men go through the same thing. I wouldn't say that all of them are wearing wigs, but depending on the era of what we're shooting, if it's a period piece or something like that, men are definitely wearing wigs. And one of the things that being a hairstylist, working in the industry, that I've learned is anything before the 1970s, men weren't bald. So we're always trying to make sure, we always get a ton of bald extras, and we're always trying to find wigs to put on them. And, even if you do have a present day actor and he's bald, well, guess what? His stunt double might not be bald. So then that goes over to makeup, and they're trying to figure out, a bald cap to make sure that he matches. And so men, they go through the same process just as women do. It's just that because their hair is shorter or styled differently, we don't necessarily zoom in on if a man is wearing a wig or not.
Well, Shannon, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time. Please stay healthy and safe. And next time I'm on a set, I'm going to pay more attention to the hair department and hope I'll get a chance to see you there. This is Scott Orlin. Till next time.